So the PS Vita is now 5 years old, and ever since it launched, it's basically been famous for all the wrong reasons. But a lot of people actually have this belief that the PS Vita was one of the most successful failures in the gaming console industry. That's more of a misbelief because the PS Vita did sell actually really well, at least in the East, where it enjoyed exclusive titles over the competition and of course the brand value of Sony there. But in the West, it definitely failed to make a mark, and it sure did not sell as well as, say, the Nintendo's 3DS, for all the good reasons that you probably already are aware of. I mean, extensive competition from mobile gaming, lack of first-party titles from the company, and of course that ridiculous price tag Sony sold this at. $249 just for the console, and then another $100 for a memory card, which was exclusively made for the Vita by Sony and was not bundled inside the box. So you would have already paid $350 without even a single game title in your hand. That was highway robbery. So it was basically bound to fail. But considering the worldwide scenario and worldwide sales, neither was it really successful, but nor did it fail drastically. It sort of averaged out and stayed in middle of the road. But I've got to admit, the PS Vita back in the day was without any doubt the most coolest console anyone had ever seen. I mean, not just in terms of looks, but also in its features and capabilities. Like, it had two cameras which you could use for Skype. It was actually a pretty below average camera because the main use of that was to support augmented reality game cards, which if you think about, it's actually pretty cool even now. And so 5 years ago, it was probably the coolest thing that you could have had. Although I doubt a lot of people took advantage of that. Also at the back, between those two rubber pads, that rectangular surface was actually a touchpad, and I didn't really know that initially, but you could use that too while playing on your Vita. So combine that with the AR capabilities it had, I think it can still blow away anyone's mind. But easily the most underrated asset of the PS Vita, at least according to me, was the display. So it came up with a 5-inch display, which was actually a pretty good size for gaming back in the day, although it was not the most pixel dense display because it was not even 720p. But the best part was that it was OLED, so it had the absolute top-notch colors and insanely deep blacks, because you know that's the speciality of OLED panels. So playing games, watching movies, surfing the web, you had no chance of getting disappointed. And speaking about surfing the web, the Vita actually had probably the best operating system. Maybe because it didn't really have those many competitors. I mean, just the 3DS, and you already know what kind of software it has. But even then, people sort of detested the bubble type theme all around. You couldn't really customize that a lot, so that was some kind of a pain. But I was perfectly fine with that because I didn't really interacted with that a lot since I was mostly playing games on my Vita. And even when I interacted with it, it was actually pretty fun to me because at least it didn't lag or hang up in the middle. It had spectacularly smooth animations, all at really adequate speeds, and surfing the web was actually a breeze. I mean, it blew me away the first time I did that. It was absolutely smooth, just as smooth as on my phone, although it did face a lot of difficulties in loading up heavy websites, but I was completely fine with that. And so was the main task this thing was aimed at: gaming. Of course, it didn't really have a lot of first-party titles, and the very few ones that we had in the beginning were later discontinued, so that was a bummer for some pretty serious gamers. But this actually had a quad-core chip inside, which made the gaming experience an absolute pleasure. I'm actually a pretty big fan of some heavy-duty games which have some high graphic content in them, like FIFA and maybe Unit 13, and I was never disappointed. I did feel that the joysticks were a little bit mushy, but other than that, there was absolutely no flaw in the system. And that was not all. I mean, you could do a lot of things. You could hack into your Vita and make it do whatever you wanted it to. Plus, even now, you can play PS4 games on your Vita through remote play. So that is pretty sick. Although not a lot of games come out for the Vita now. And there's also no hope of any new titles coming for the Vita in the later future, since this console is pretty much on the brink of shutting down. I mean, Sony might not even inform before shutting this down after it goes out of stock everywhere it sells at. But that's the way how it is, and that's the way how it will be. Although I hope you like how this video has been. And if you did, feel free to let me know in the comment below. Also leave your suggestions for maybe future episodes in this new series, and we might just have a great chat down below. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to share it, and I'll catch you in my next one. Take care.